welcome back to the Spot Real Talk. This is our Quarantine Chronicles, where we are doing our Spot Real Talk happy hour. And I am Tiara.
I'm Ron.
I'm Tiffany.
And today we have our special guest back, LaWanda.
She's not a guest anymore. She's
our Texas correspondent.
She's our Texas correspondent. She's not a guest. I'm sorry, LaWanda. You can't keep holding that title anymore.
But they say after the first time, make yourself at home, get your own stuff.
There we go.
For permission at that point.
Well, I'm starting out with my Bacardi brandy, sipping it a little bit at a time for other reasons. We'll get into that later. But
all right, and I got my mango and Malibu with a little bit of ginger ale, the usual.
All right, I like that too.
I got a red raspberry Moscato.
Uh-oh.
I had a bottle of water. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to it.
Okay.
Okay, well, don't make us over here look like we always sipping. You getting the goody two shoes.
I have been sipping. I can't even lie.
Okay, fans, we'll be right back in 2 and 2.
One burnt you, know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that alone.
All right, we are back, and this week, of course, we are talking about Insecure again. This is season 4, episode 3, LowKey Thankful. So this episode was kind of centered around the Thanksgiving holiday and all that everybody had on. And I must say that this was one of the more enjoyable episodes. So they had a lot going on.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't even know where to start. I guess we can go ahead and dive in. First of all, this is not a huge part of the storyline, so I think we can get this out the way first. But your girl Molly. So I wanted to start off with talking about Molly and all that she had going on.
Molly can take 30 minutes all by herself.
Well, I want to dive into it because I think the latter part of the conversation is really going to get more, it's going to be more conversation for the latter part of it.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and knock your girl Molly out.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode, like I said, is Thanksgiving. And she has 2 things going on. First of all, she has family issues, and then she also has her issues with Issa. So I wanted to talk about her family issues first. Mm-hmm. We learned last season that her father had an affair while he and her mom were still married, and Molly really took that hard. And so it's been playing out this season too, where she's still holding a grudge against her father. Mm-hmm. And it kind of reminded me, because I kind of forgot all about that. These seasons take such long breaks, you forget little details like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, this makes a lot of sense in why Molly acts the way she does in relationships now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you.
And why do you say that?
I forgot.
Why? How so?
Well, I was thinking in terms of her dad and the problems that she can't let it go. And you know how we talked last week how she's always looking for a reason, to make things go sour. And I feel like that stems from her parents' relationship, because she thought that they were the ideal. Mm-hmm. And when that fell apart and she realized that, the relationship that her parents had wasn't what it appeared to be on the surface, she starts doubting every little thing and nitpicking and tearing things apart. And I feel like she overdoes, like you said, she overdoes it, and she comes off nitpicky.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, if anything, that experience with her parents should have taught her that no relationship is perfect.
Well, I don't think
her brother brought that out,
and
too.
I don't think you need to be taught that. I mean, Molly's a grown woman, and her parents worked it out. They were, he did right by his wife. He made it clear that this is who I want. This is who I'm going to be with. I'm not saying that, cheating on your wife is a good thing. It never turns anything good. However, they worked it out. So Molly, get over it. You're grown. You ought to know better that relationships aren't made in heaven necessarily. You know, they are what they are. It takes a lot of work to be in a relationship, let alone a marriage.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Molly has always had this idea of perfection. Remember, because she was trying to find a guy on the league. So she's had this ideal in her head that they have to check this list, and they have to have every characteristic on the list, and it's going to be perfect. And it's not working out that way. And I think that's probably her problem. What was the guy's name that she dated that worked at the Enterprise?
Oh, Jerry.
Jared, yeah. Even with her relationship with Jared, when everything seems perfect, it was like it always has to be something else, because she has this idea that things can never be wrong, that it's gonna be this fairy tale, we're gonna meet, everything's gonna be perfect, we're gonna get married, there are gonna be no hiccups. And that's not gonna work for her. And that's also why she doesn't trust her judgment with Asian Bank either.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny too how her parents, when she showed her mom the picture of him and they realized he was Asian, her brother kind of chimed in with like, "Is he crazy and rich too?" And so I thought that was funny too.
That was funny.
I
agree with what Ron said though, because I'm like, I understand her being upset about, what her father did, but I'm like, if mom forgave him, then you need to roll with it.
And
her brother said exactly that.
Brother said the same thing, and that really shows strength. So if you were thinking that your parents were all that, they are, because they got over a hurdle that does destroy relationships. But like you said, come on, Molly. I mean, the parents are good. You need to be good with it. I'm not saying that you didn't take something from that. I'm sure it did hurt her, because that's not how she saw her parents. But Molly, you're a grown woman, and you should know realities in life. They don't always come, clean and green like that. It's a relationship. They worked it out. You need to work it out within yourself. But getting back with what you said, LaWanda, about her needing this perfection in everybody she meets, she needs to look within first. If you are looking for perfection, you got to make sure that you're perfect. And therein lies the problem with a lot of relationships. We always want more than what we're giving. So how about try to give your best, and let's see what you get in return.
Yeah.
You know what? But I think Molly, in some ways, probably thinks she is that.
Well, that's the problem.
If you listen to how she talked about herself, like the first and second season, even when she was telling him that she grew up in the hood, so she may look at herself as a person who's done everything right. She went to school, she got a law degree, she did well, she's a very good attorney at one of the top firms. She may think of herself in that way and not even see her flaws or really give them any real weight. You know what I mean? Because it seems to me when she was dating, it was always the guy. It was never her.
When that's
true.
Therapy, she didn't really take that seriously. It was always somebody else and not her.
And that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. Because nobody's perfect, as we know.
Okay. Well, I want to take this Molly conversation and transition it into her situation with Issa. Because this week it seemed like things really got, it's starting to reach a boiling point with them. And so they were out at the grocery store and they're going shopping or whatever. And they really start having some issues. And
they start taking shots.
Yeah.
They start taking shots. Like, and it started off with, Molly mentioning she wasn't sure if she should invite Andrew over to her family's Thanksgiving or not. And Issa kind of threw a shot, but she was like, "Oh, don't let the old Molly start coming out.
You scare him away." I said, "Wow, Issa was wrong for that."
I really don't think so, because she was being quite, discerning about that, because the old Molly would destroy something like that.
That wasn't the place to say.
It didn't.
That was harsh.
Well,
that was harsh.
To me,
it wasn't necessary at that point.
But y'all are real close. You're supposed to be real close. That wasn't a shot over. To me, that wasn't the type of shot that would knock you out. That was just a sense of reality. If you can't be true to your
it wasn't necessary. What Molly said.
Don't be abrasive.
Yeah, what Molly said was, we're exclusive now. Should I invite him? Issa said, you only been dating him a couple months. And he was like, You don't want to be the old Molly and scare him away. Like, she ain't have to go that far. Even if she wanted to say, well, it's only been a couple months. Maybe we should wait a little bit.
Look, your feelings, y'all some fragile folk. Come on, you got to tighten
up.
No,
and you guys are more fragile than we are.
Okay.
I don't know, but
y'all are.
Molly and Issa, they have sharp tongues when it comes to each other. They don't pull any punches. Like, when you listen to the way they talk to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how did that?
Molly fired back.
Sensitive about it. For some reason, they're sensitive about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've said words to each other.
What Molly said really was harsh, because she fired back on Issa, talking about, you have your little successful throuple going on. And that's when it really started getting dirty, because they start Molly fired at Issa talking about her throuple, and then Issa started talking about isn't that exactly what you had going on with Dro?
Dro.
Well, I wasn't doing it for weed and toiletries.
Yes.
I was like, I had to clutch my pearls on that one.
I think the reason that it's affected Molly the way it did is because she really wants to be close, and she wants to get closer in this relationship. And I think she's taken this relationship more seriously than she had in the past. So when Issa threw that shot, it really got to her, because in her mind, she really wants this relationship, probably more so than she had in any other relationship. So I'm thinking, because like you said, LaWanda,
she wanted all of those relationships.
Their tongues are sharp.
Molly has wanted a serious relationship, period, with everybody that she's dated. She just was picking them apart.
Well, okay. So somehow, you got to explain that to me. We don't have time today, but at some point, you explain to me how you want something, but then you're tearing it apart at the same time.
They said themselves that the past couple months they've been off. So they've already in a sensitive space. So something that might normally roll off their backs, since they're in this weird space, that's why they're both hypersensitive.
Yeah.
And then too, Molly is under the impression that she might be getting replaced. So, and I'm thinking that might have a lot more to do with it than anything else. So, it's a litany of things that might be bothering Molly. I don't think the relationship in and of itself, or what they said, is as much much a problem as the other factors. Like, she might be, being replaced. Like in episode 3, Molly wanted to have lunch, and here Issa is inviting
Condola.
Right, inviting Condola, and that's not something that Molly necessarily wanted to have happen. So I think it's more of a Condola versus Issa versus Molly type situation that's really going on in Molly's head. My opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that, Molly definitely seems to be taking it more personal than Issa, because they kind of arranged to speak at a later time. And then Issa kept pushing it off. She was supposed to stop by Molly's for Thanksgiving and never ended up with one. And then they got, she started to text later on that night. And it seemed like Molly was just kind of over it at that point. She was being real short with her through the text message. So I think that this is the beginning of their big fallout.
Right.
I have a question then. Do you think there ever comes a point in friendship where you can be, frustrated or disappointed in a person? Because it seems like what it is that they're watching each other make the same mistakes over and over and over. But at this point, they're not giving each other grace. They're almost like, okay, you just did this. Why didn't you learn? I'm kind of tired of hearing I'm tired of hearing that story. And I'm like, I don't even know if the word is okay. You ever get to that point in a friendship with someone where it's like, okay, I don't want to hear this phone call again. I'm tired of hearing this conversation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think that, but I think at that time you really need to express that, because, while you're on one accord thinking one way, your friend might not have that sensitivity as you do. So as again, just growing up and realizing if it bothers you, say something.
Yeah.
You're saying something is just coming out.
But
that's what I was going to say. Say it in a way that's not so harsh.
Yeah.
It might be very...
That it would be well received or better received.
Well, it may be very direct, but whatever you have to say, if it's really bothering you, you got to be clear. So be clear, concise, and then let whatever happens happen.
Yeah, but I think at some point they stopped feeling like they could keep it 100, like they were being judged. Because it seems like that to me, like, because Issa chose to confide in her brother where she wouldn't confide in Molly. So it's almost like there's a reason why they don't feel like they can keep it 100 again. Like they feel like the other person is judging them.
Right.
Well said. That's true. That's true. Because even when Molly didn't tell Issa that was Andrew on the phone, she said it was some work stuff. I was just like, wow, why she lied to Issa like that? And then Issa, or maybe she doesn't want to seem like she's wrong, because Molly said this episode, she was just like, I can't believe that you still working with her and everything.
Or maybe she thought that
that's why she disclosed into her.
Well, maybe you might have thought that if she did say that it was Andrew, that Issa might have, started on her little, chopping block and made comments that might not have been too, might not have gone over too well.
But Issa was the one that had told Molly to give him a chance in the first place.
I know, but they still had that little situation in the store, so maybe, Molly thought it best not to mention who it was on the phone. I don't know, but either way, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If y'all are besties, you got to get over it.
Yeah. Well, I want to transition this conversation from Issa and go into Issa and Lawrence. So this is kind of like the main event. So
I know Tiffany and I don't, we never going to agree on this. So
let's walk you in. We're going to walk you through the topic. So it kind of started off where Issa ended up going to Condola's spot at the cafe. And so she's hanging out at all Condola's little spots and ordering food. And she runs into Lawrence there, and they're making these little inside movie jokes. And I seen that scene, and I was like, oh my God, LaWanda said this last week about them having, certain intimacies and certain inside jokes that Condola wouldn't understand. And sure enough.
And I told Ron last week that I said that eventually that they're going to find their way back to each other. I was like, it may not even be this season.
That might be the story.
They may get it in this season. But there's still something there. Ron said last week that Lawrence was over Issa. Lawrence is not over Issa.
Okay. That might be the way the storyboard is written. But from what I see episode to episode, Lawrence wants to move on. Issa is the one that's getting real messy with this. I mean, like, come on.
So you don't see from this episode that Lawrence is still pining for Issa. Like, you didn't see him watching her social media.
I'm not.
You didn't see him.
Especially that last scene where he's scrolling through her Snapchat stories and he's sending little emojis and stuff. And then what song plays? What song? Maya, Case of the Ex. And I was like, this is foreshadowing.
That's going to get him in trouble because he also responded to the social media. Yeah. And how much you want to bet that Condola is going to see it? Be like, oh well, you liking her pictures, you making little.
It goes down in the DM.
It's going to be an issue.
And that's what I was telling Tiffany. So the whole reason he didn't want them to be friends it was because he was starting something new, but it's also because you don't want your ex being friend with the new girl when you get ready to go back to the ex.
Wait a minute. No, look, maybe.
He didn't want to burn that bridge, okay?
But maybe, how about this? Maybe he wants to start fresh and start with Condola and work that out like it's supposed to, but Issa keeps showing up. And yes, I still think. Hold up. I'm not saying that Lawrence.
Put the brandy down.
Is that what it's got? That's what's got him talking crazy.
Yeah.
What? Look. Issa was in their spot, right? And she had to get up and move. And then when Issa
made him follow her. I mean, go on her social media.
No.
No.
Okay. What I'm simply saying is, if Issa would just chill and move on.
Now, first off, Condola is already showing. It already shows me. It's already showing me that she ain't gonna be around long.
Well, I started to say.
They were at the Friendsgiving.
Right.
He finds out that she don't really want to have a family. She may not want to get married again or whatever. And he's interested. Like, first of all, LaWanda and I talked about this earlier. Lawrence is a traditional guy. He is trying to save face for his boys. and everything, but he is a relationship guy. He wants to have wants to be married. He wants to have a family. And then when
does he want to have a family? According to you all, who does he want to have a family with? Does he want to have a family with Issa, or does he want to have a family with Condola? See, my point is, if he's a relationship guy, then he's going to respect and enjoy the relationship that he's in. Not try.
But he wants more.
Condola is not
a ring, okay?
Her friend basically let him know that he was an F buddy, okay?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but
he's a rebound guy. He just found out through her friend that she's a rebound guy. He's a rebound guy.
He didn't hear it from Condola. He heard it from Condola's drunk friend, who happened to be talking too much.
Her drunk friend that Condola probably confided in.
Maybe, but you know what? Look.
And then
she got that from somewhere.
And then what did Condola do? When you're asked a question, ask another question. She didn't respond to him. She just asked him.
Right.
Look, I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with you about Condola. I don't think Condola really wants as deep a relationship as Lawrence does, and therein lies a problem. Because but this is what I'm saying about Lawrence. I think Lawrence wants a deeper relationship with her.
No, because the question that Condola posed, would you still be with Issa if she hadn't cheated on you, revealed a whole lot?
What kind of question is that? That's a ridiculous question. I mean, that's a ridiculous question. Of course he would be.
I mean,
wait a minute. Lawrence didn't break up with Lawrence.
Not cheated, they still be together.
Exactly.
Oh, yes,
hold on, wait. Can we?
He would still be there.
But wait a minute.
Wait. Let's try not to talk over each other.
Wait a minute, guys. That's stating the obvious. I mean, of course he loved. Nobody ever said that he never loved Issa, and he was always looking for a way out. No one ever said that. I mean, she messed up. They broke up. And that's the end of that. And most people, when they break up, it's because somebody messed up. So what kind of question is that?
Okay, so Ron, you don't like the question that Condola posed to Lawrence about whether he would still have been with Issa if she hadn't cheated.
Unless you have a crystal ball. I mean, to me, the question just doesn't lead anywhere, because the answer to me and anyone outside, as Condola is, would be obvious. They would still be together. They were together for 5 years. And most people, they jet when somebody cheats. So it's not one of those, oh, that was a unique reason why you left. I mean, most people leave for that reason. He jetted because she cheated. So to ask the question to me is, it's like beating a dead horse. What would you expect him to say? And he can't say, well,
I think the question was more rhetorical, because we already know Condola is like, I think Condola was thinking that they would be each other's rebound. So she's not looking for anything serious, but I think she's starting to catch feelings now, especially when she's seen how he and Issa interacted, and she was like, oh, okay, it's something that's still there. So I think she's really starting to catch feelings. And now that the question has come up, would you still have been with her if she hadn't cheated? I don't think that was a question that meant to get an answer, which is why I think they cut away in the scene like that, because we didn't actually ever get an answer from Lawrence. It was kind of him just standing there like pondering the question.
Which to me is even worse, because the fact that he didn't.
Because he knows he would be. That's why I took it as guilty as charged. He would have still been in that relationship.
And I agree with that. And that's my whole point. He would have been in that relationship. So to me, even to ask the question rhetorically just doesn't seem. What was your end game with the question? So was it just because you were angry because you all started, tiffing at one another, taking little bites at one another? Or did you really have something there with that question?
She could have been projecting.
Or deflecting.
Deflecting, right.
That's what it was. It was deflecting. That's all it was.
But the better question would have been, well, why did she cheat?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And to me, if you
think that this episode revealed a lot.
Well,
because Condola doesn't know why Lawrence cheated, and so why Issa cheated on Lawrence. And so if she had asked that question, that's the better question, because it kind of ties into what happened this episode with Lawrence and his job.
Well, but guys, is that really a reason to cheat on somebody because he lost his job and he was kind of
no, but think about what Chad said. Chad said last year you were a bum. His boy said that.
Okay.
And if you look at Condola's friends, they kind of bougie. They got good jobs. And so I think that Condola is of that kind. And so if Lawrence was to lose his job and all of a sudden fall back into that slump, he'd be right back where he was with Issa.
Well, if
Lawrence was working at Best Buy again, Condola would be out.
You know what?
Condola would be out.
Remember when I told you, Tiffany, that women y'all have the terrible twos?
Oh, Lord, here you go again.
Remember that? He's too tall. He's too short. He's too skinny. He makes too little money. Come on. Look, okay, he works at Best Buy. Doesn't mean he's going to live there. Doesn't mean he's going to retire with a pension from Best Buy. He's a young man. So he was working at Best Buy. He lost his job. Doesn't mean he's going to forever be, in the squalor of
well, we're not saying
LA.
That, but Condola seems to be somebody who's
you are saying that. You are saying that. You're saying that in a roundabout way, talking about positions and the quality.
We're saying that.
No, we're talking based on Condola.
Okay.
Yeah, based on where Condola is and her status, her friends, her lifestyle.
Let me tell you something.
If Lawrence was working at Best Buy, she would be out.
Lawrence should have jetted. And oh yeah, she said something to the effect that, well, I really didn't invite you. You kind of invited yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he did.
Okay, but right there, hold up, sister. So what are you saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling you, that would have been my cue.
That's what I said. There were so many signs that this relationship is not going to work.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And again, I feel sorry for Lawrence because it's like he's trying to pull it out, but here he goes with these type of women that just not giving him a break.
I really felt bad for Lawrence this episode. Yeah, I felt bad for Lawrence because I especially when he was talking with the guy, his friend, and he was talking about like, if it ain't one thing, it's another. It's like I always have one thing missing. If I got the girl, I don't have the job. If I got the job, I don't have the girl. And he just always feels like he's never a complete puzzle. And so I think, especially Lawrence, after realizing that there might be some potential problems at his job, he started, I guess, trying to make her sink and attempting to be the handyman.
It wasn't fixed though.
It wasn't fixed. Spoke again.
LaWanda, you was gonna say something.
Lawrence is kind of the male Molly.
Yes.
They both have this idea of perfection. They both hold grudges and don't let stuff go. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I don't see that.
Well, there are some comparisons.
The reason I say that is that Issa is the connection, right? She's the focal point, and she's dealing with the same thing from the two people closest to her. People who have this idea that things are gonna be perfect, that you can't make a mistake, that they can't forgive you and get over it, and kind of I don't want to say adapt or adjust. Kind of be able to deal with somebody in their complexity and their flaws, because Issa cheated. We're not saying she right, but look at it from her point of view. She put up and did a lot of support for you, and he wasn't there for her when she needed, whether it was support or attention, whatever it was. And she was wrong for cheating, but I guess you look at it from her standpoint. I put in this for 5 years, and the one mistake I made, I can't get forgiveness for this, but I'm supposed to look at you forgetting my birthday, or letting me bear the weight. But then there's no grace and no forgiveness for me. But you wanted me to forgive you when you were going through your stuff, right? Even though it's different.
The question
the way
look,
we reacted was different.
Because men think that. As I think men and women take it very much the same way. When a person cheats, there's a lot of questions that come into your head. Was it because he's physically more appealing than I am? And that's a
that wasn't it.
Right.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying that, but what I'm saying is there are a lot of questions that. What did you say, LaWanda?
She said it wasn't, but all right. Daniel did have a nice physique.
Daniel was fine.
Okay.
He had
Daniel was sexy.
Lord have
mercy. I did want to
help us, Lord.
I did want to piggyback off of LaWanda's comment though, because Issa said the same thing when she was sitting there talking with her brother, and she was talking about how, you know, you put all this energy into building a man up, and then he goes off to be his best self with the next chick.
Yeah, he glowed up with Gondola.
How about this? First of all, it's not your responsibility to build a man, okay? These aren't Legos. And you know what? If he's wearing sneakers and sweats when you met him, that's who he is. You know, doesn't mean he has to live there. That's just who you got. You got a man that likes sneakers and sweats. If he was wearing a suit and a tie, that's who he is. Doesn't mean that that's what he's going to be like 24/7, but that's who he is. Y'all problem is you always want to build a bear. Y'all need to go to build a bear and build a bear. Stop this with men. You can't build a man. A man is who he is.
Y'all, there you go. There he goes. Get him in the comments. Get him in the comments, y'all.
Who is y'all?
Bears, we were saying that dang, if you want Issa to overlook your flaws, can you overlook her one mistake?
Exactly.
That's not a mistake.
If you want her,
that's not a mistake.
That was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Issa wasn't walking down the street and just happened to flop in on some, you know what? That wasn't a mistake. She wanted to do it. The problem is,
it was a mistake.
Oh, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. How about it's not a mistake? She was just wrong. And how about this? Let's sit down and talk about why you did that. Let's sit down and chat about that. Why did you do that? Because if you're saying it's just because he had a better physique, you're gonna do that with the next guy you see?
No, that's not why. That's not why. Lawrence was broke. Lawrence was depressed.
Oh my God!
Issa was carrying the load.
Okay, he was broke for a minute.
It wasn't a minute. It was years.
Okay.
And I think it was more so his mentality too, because he was in his slump and he couldn't see outside of his slump. Nothing else mattered outside of what was going on.
And that's when
and that's why he was forgetting certain things, and it made Issa feel overlooked and unappreciated.
But that's when a man. That's when a man needs most. That's when a man really needs your.
But she had been there for years.
And how much can you keep pouring into somebody's cup and nobody's refilling yours?
Exactly.
Eventually you don't have much left to give. So I think that's the point where Issa, it was her breaking point. And I think that she went about resolving it all wrong. But she had reason for feeling the way she felt.
Okay, you all know I'm short on this. There's no way I'm gonna win this conversation. Okay, I'm good. So
go ahead, LaWanda.
But the parallel storyline is Molly's parents, right? That's the parallel storyline, except it changed. The mother saw, okay, she had to be in a position to where she's like, okay, I'm gonna have to evaluate this man's character. Do I judge him by this one mistake, or do we work through it, not overlook it, but work through it? Mm-hmm. And then you have a 30-year, 40-year marriage after that. So I think
But she was vested into that relationship. So she was
5 years is not a marriage, but that's not vested.
But that's my point. It is.
Issa she was vested too.
But my point is, if you're vested and your man is going through something and he's not giving you, basically what you need or what you want, but you know why he's not doing that. He's going through something. And I don't think it was the whole 5 years. It was some time after, their relationship.
It was like 2.
So but my point is,
I was gonna go ahead.
My point being is that's when he needs you the most. When he can't give you the 50% that you're due, and we know relationships aren't 50-50 anyway. I might give you 100% 1 minute, and then you turn around and give me 100. Sometimes you may only give me 20. I may have to put in 80. That's a relationship.
Okay, but I guess the thing is that what we're not thinking about is, we're talking about if Lawrence would have worked it out with Issa. I think Issa was done. What is there to work out when you have a man that is not present in your relationship? I think Issa was kind of over the situation, which is kind of why she ended up being vulnerable to the cheating. She was ready to move on. But it wasn't until Lawrence started getting himself together where she was like, oh, okay.
So let me roll back. See, and this is my whole point. You myopic. You only see where he is right now. You don't see his growth. You don't see how he may improve. You just there, right there. You see what he is now, and it's not for you. So you got a jet. And then the moment,
and that's why Tiffany called it a mistake, because I think Issa sees now that had I hung in there, he would have got it together.
Okay, I can say that it was a mistake